Good day everyone, it's Grizz. We're back in the garage, back for some action, some Hayabusa action. Do you hear that? It's the Ronster. Come here, Ronnie. Come here, come here, come here, you. This is the Ronster. It's little Ronnie. Say hello, Ronnie. Yeah, so there's Ronnie. He's had a lot of problems with his ears, but he's alright now, aren't you? He's doing well. And yeah, so there's Ronnie. Hello from Ronnie. Say hello. Wave to the crowd. Yeah, he's never work with children or animals. They're not really very compliant, but he's doing really well. Thank you to everyone. I know a few of you have been. He's trying to drink my tea now. Flipping tea. Yeah, but he's doing well. So I just wanted to let you know he's fine. The Ronster's fine, aren't you? Always full of mischief. He just come back from a walk, so he's hot. So anyway, back to the Hayabusa. Today we are going to attack that rear brake caliper. If you remember back in when I was working on it in the build series, the rear piston was all really stiff and a bit frozen, not moving around properly. So Rob got us a new rear brake piston. Thanks, Rob. Cheers, mate. And some seals, which are really cool. That is made by TRK. Can't say I've heard of TRK before, but it looks like good quality stuff, and I'm very sure it's gonna live up to the job that it's required to do. So happy for that. So yeah, gonna use some brake cleaner from Fuchs Seal Clean. Thanks guys for sending me this out. Gonna try it out for the first time today, so hopefully, I'm sure it will do though, do a good job of yeah, cleaning up the brakes on reassembly. And I've also got some Silcoline brake fluid. Oh, also I'm gonna fit this beautiful, this is actually very nice, it's made by Hell, and yeah, it's all black rear brake line, braided brake line, but yeah, look at the ends, see the tip, it's all about the tip. Sorry, take that in the nicest way possible, but yeah, I don't think this is focusing very well. Will it focus now? Put my finger there. But anyway, yeah, it's very nice and I like it. And that looks very stealthily. So a nice new braided line going on the back as well. A couple of banjo bolts. And I'm going to use my vacuum bleeding kit. This was like £20 off of, I think I bought it on Amazon, and it's provided to be absolutely priceless. It's really good kit. It's probably not the most professional, tightest fitting, but it's light, quick and easy to use, and I like it. I like using this. It's not a plug for anyone, I just like using it. Have a look for one. Anyway, so let's get on with it. Let me show you what I've done to the bike. Right, I'm not messing around guys. I've taken the exhaust off. The rear seat kind of plastics, carbon fiber seat thing is off. I had to take it off to gain access to the top of the reservoir. There's no easy way of doing that without taking it off, so that is off. Exhaust is off, it's around there somewhere. Right, let's get this done. I've already, to speed things up, I've taken out the pin which secures the pads, taken out these two bolts which secures the brake caliper in place. Now I need to take it off and take out the pads and pump out the piston. Let's do it. Right, so let's get the brake caliper off. Try not to lose the brake pads in the process. Let's just dangle that for a sec. Right, brake pads out. Right, I've just covered the back here just to stop any brake fluid getting anywhere I don't want it to go. It should be fine, there shouldn't be kind of jumping out anywhere. But first things first, now we've got the caliper off, I'm going to take out this little spring clip which sits there, which applies pressure on those brake brake pads. That's out. Now, as you can see, we need to pump out this old piston. It's just super stiff, super duper stiff. It just will not move using your hands alone. But anyway, I'll pump that one out now. So you just press the foot pedal. You can see my hand here, woo, down here. Alright, just pump in the pedal and you watch the piston come out. It's probably going to be covered in copper grease because there is so much copper grease on this thing when I was trying to clean it up. So I did get quite a bit off, but we need to pop it all the way out now, really. Will it pull out? No, it's just not. I could get pliers on it, I guess. But I'm going to save myself the trouble. Right, that is as far as it will go now. It's kind of blowing bubbles and a bit of fluid coming out. So now that's enough. Now I'm gonna pull out the piston and drain out the fluid. Right, so piston, jar. You want to get any of the fluid into the jar. Hopefully not on ourselves or on the bike. If you do get it on the bike, you want to clean it off as soon as possible with some brake cleaner, because it will eat into your paintwork, etc. So let's pop this one out. There it goes. It's coming out. No problemo. It's actually not that bad a condition, is it? But it's probably the seals more so than the piston. But it is going to be good to replace, and it's being replaced. So let's put that safely to one side. Empty the fluid out. I think I managed not to get it on the floor. And then I'm just going to remove the rest of the fluid and get the line off the caliper. Right, so that is the caliper off. I've got the old piston here, and as I said previously on the previous cleanup I did of the rear caliper, someone's pulled this piston out with a set of pliers or something and marked up the piston. I mean, the piston overall isn't really too bad, but you can see it's not really that new. But these deep marks into the piston will, basically, a lot of dirt will sit in that, and it will hinder the movement of the piston on the sill. And you can see there's quite a lot of marking around that top portion of the piston, so it'll all interrupt it. Dirt will stick in there and it'll stop the free movement of that piston. But something even more interesting I found. This is the piston as the brake caliper as it is when I took it off. And I'm just looking in there, and all I can see is one rubber seal. And with the kit, the TRK kit, you get the piston. It's kind of the same size, but more so, you get two seals. Now you got the bigger kind of fatter seal and a little skinny seal, and there's basically the only one rubber seal there, which is just like not good, is it? So let me get the rubber seal out. What I'm going to do first though, before I do that, I'm just going to give all these components a little wipe down and clean up with some brake cleaner from Seal Clean. Thanks guys. And the only other thing that I wanted to say, I'm going to give the brake pads a little wipe down, but I bought these are EBC brake pads. I've been using EBC for years, but look, this has literally just been on the bike, and I've used it to, I don't know if it's like a sharp edge on this piston or something, the old piston, but yeah, it's kind of caused the paint to flake off the back. Now, yeah, I wouldn't expect that from EBC. I did buy these off of eBay, so whether or not it's some old stock or something, but the pads themselves look good. But yeah, worth noting. I shall keep an eye on the quality of the pads I get from EBC. But yeah, anyway, let's get back to it. Let's just give all this a little clean up, a little wipe down, some brake cleaner, and then we can start stripping down that rear brake caliper. Let's do it. Right, Sony just gave these little brackets a little blow over with some brake cleaner. They don't need heavy cleaning. All of this is being cleaned up literally like a week or so ago, or a couple of weeks ago maybe, when I did the whole cleanup of the rear brake caliper. So let's now pop out the rubber seal and give the rest of the caliper a clean up. I'm using like a very small screwdriver. Be careful not to splash yourself with brake cleaner. And this seal I can see is quite old and splashing me. Hold on a sec. Let's get a bit of the fluid out. Let's get a bit of brake cleaner in there. Dry things out a bit. Let's get that one off. Right, bleed nipple out. Really good actually, this. Also got a little straw. Couldn't get some in there. Looking good. Right, it's actually got quite a pleasant smell. This stuff, it smells quite nice. It's not like super like intoxicating smell. So yeah, all good I think. So that there should be all the fluid out now, and should be easier to pop the seal out. Right, let's have another go. So get it in. And he's out. So there it is. That is the old rubber seal, and it's kind of lost its shape and kind of ballooned up a little bit. But it's not too bad actually. But it's not too bad. But it's a little bit perished here and there. So it's obviously definitely getting replaced. So we've got, there was only one seal in that, and should have been two, so that's going to make a massive difference. Fortunately, I've kind of cleaned this up already on the previous strip down, but I'm just going to check it over, make sure there's no heavy corrosion in there. Right, cleanup done. Let's remove all this dirty stuff. Brake cleaner did a grand job. great stuff, Seal Clean. First time I've tried that, but yeah, it certainly fitted the bill. Right, now, brake caliper. Now this rear brake caliper, I'll be honest, it's really in quite bad condition. It's clearly seen, as you've seen on the Hayabusa already, it's seen a lot of abuse and not cleaned regularly. Now, when you don't clean your brake calipers regularly, you end up with all that kind of salt and corrosion and dirt and grime sitting and building up in these grooves where the rubbers go, slowly, bit by bit. And if you don't keep them clean, basically this metal will just start to corrode, and you end up, when you try to put your rubbers in, or if you take them out and clean them up and put them in again, they just don't sit very well in there, you know. So they can sometimes kind of get blown out because there's too much rust in there, and it really sticks and makes the piston really tight. Now, I've cleaned that out as best as I can without going nuts on it, so I hope this is going to be alright. I don't want to get a wire brush in there because we also need this to be nice and smooth and not really kind of scratched up. So let's have a go. I think it's going to be alright. I'm going to put the rubber seals in. I'm going to use the rubber grease. Don't use too much of this. Don't use too much rubber grease because this also mixes with your brake fluid and then can reduce your like the effectiveness of the brake fluid. So just use enough to lubricate it, so you've just got a little bit in there on the rubber, and put it in, and then we get the piston fitted. Let's do that now. Right, also just give your piston a little bit of a clean up with the brake cleaner as well. We just want to get rid of any surface grease off of there which might have been on there from storage. Basically any greases you know, can contaminate your brake fluid and reduce its efficiency basically. So yeah, job done. That's that clean. Right, so grease. It's what came with the kit from TRK. Rip open the packet. Oh my goodness, where do I rip it? There we go. Save myself embarrassment then. Right, this is like red grease. Yeah, so what I tend to do is get a bit on my finger like so, and then get the rubber seal and just work it into the seal. So you've just ended up with a little light coating all over the seal. Yeah, nothing crazy. We don't want crazy amounts on there. So let's get that one in. First seal. This is the big fat one that sits closest to the back of the caliper. Whoop, can we see in there? Sorry, I didn't have a very good angle. So that's the first one in. The second one, which I wasn't even fitted on it when I took it apart. Again, just get a bit on your fingers, work it into the seal. I've messed up so much in the past using this grease, using too much, and it's just like stupid. I've learnt through my mistakes basically over the years. Don't be like Grizz. Right, so just a little bit again, all over the seal. We'll get that one in just to that outer edge. Hopefully it will sit in there. So there we go. It does seem to be okay. So now we actually have two rubber seals in the piston. Yay! Right, now let's get in the piston. Get rid of some of that grease. Alright, piston. Gonna put it in, slide it in, baby. Nice and even. Try and get it in straight if you can. not exactly easy to get in, to be honest, but geez, yeah, that's not going in very well. I'm just hoping that there's not too much corrosion inside where these sills are sitting and preventing this piston from going in. Let's get a bit of that off. Let's put a tiny bit on around the outside of the piston to aid fitting. Let's have another go. Looks like it should be alright, but it's not exactly going in smoothly. It's in straight. Oh, there she goes. Right, it's in. So that is the piston in. Right, I'm pushed home now. So that's all done. We can reassemble. Fresh set of gloves. I'm just gonna wipe off any excess of this grease from the rubber grease that I've had. Make sure that I'm not getting all the rest of my brake parts covered in rubber grease. Okay, let's do it. Right, so that's all kind of degreased. I got off any kind of excess, spot a little bit more there, of that red grease. I'm going to give it just a tiny little coat of WD-40 as well, just to just take away this kind of dry look to it as well. It looks like it needs a full refurbishment at the moment, but I'm not gonna do it. It's just gonna go back on the bike so I can get and use it. Just give it a little whisper of WD-40, not too much though. I'm not going to get too much in the piston here as well, and avoid it getting in there. Right, so that is it, all cleaned up, ready to go. Let's just get a little bit of tissue in that thread and get rid of any excess. There, done. So already basically that is ready now to go back on the bike. Putting the WD-40 on, it just kind of leaves a better condition, protects the metal a little bit. You're just getting a little whisper on there. As you've seen, I was just using a brush to work it in and then wiping off any excess. So it's yeah, just a little bit of protection for the metal, nothing crazy. Right, enough talking, let's get it on the bike, let's get it rebuilt and get the lovely braided brake line. Look at those ends, so yummy. Hell yes, let's do it. Right, so I've put the braided brake line on, I've fitted it on the master cylinder, so that is ready to go. I made sure I got it the right way around, so that is ready to fit. Brake pads are in place. Let's get the brake caliper on. Right, I'm not a big fan of the copper grease, but I do use a little bit always on this retainer, little retaining screw. Yeah, it just aids getting it off again at a later point when you want to take it out or refit your pads. And I get a little bit on this pin, not that much. I'll take some off. So I just put a tiny bit on there so it's just kind of covered. Now my reason behind that is that this will basically attract dirt and dust which will basically get transferred onto your brake pads and your disc as well, and cause premature wear. So yeah, that's my thoughts behind that. Let's get that pin done in. It does allow just a little bit of that copper grease, will allow these pads to move around more so on that pin. So right, job done really. Let's get the rest of the hose in. Right, with the Hell kit as well, there was 2 banjo bolts. They've written caliper on one of them. Not sure why, I don't know what the difference is between the two, but anyway, one's for the caliper, one's for the master cylinder, and you get 2 washers as well. Can you see that without it falling out my hand? So you get 1 washer on, facing up onto the, ooh, can't really see with my gloves here, can you? My hand, I'm not being very clever. So 1 washer on like that. Get the hose, push your bolt through, and then we put another one at the bottom, so that acts as a seal basically when we put it on. So let's get it in and get them done up. Right, let's get some suction going. Right, so let's use this thing. As I said at the start, it's just a cheapo vacuum bleeding kit off of Amazon that I bought, but it really does do the job. So basically, all it's doing is I'll show you. Right, so now look, I've started this off. I've put a rip tie around the edge of the rubber tube on the bleed nipple. I've got my little spanner there to loosen off the bleed nipple. I've got the reservoir filled up with fluid. Now I've already got most of the air out of the system, but I'm not happy with that. And what I tend to do to just get things moving and get it going through is I get the pressure, the vacuum pumped up nice and high, and then I just unlock it and pump it through a few times, and you watch this fluid go down quite quickly because it's just being sucked out all the time by the vacuum on this. This isn't really the orthodox way of doing it, but it's a quick way of getting fluid going through the system and losing the air quickly. Now when I feel I've got the fluid going through quite well and I've got a fair bit in there and I want to bleed it properly, top it up and don't use the vacuum. We're just going to bleed it now more of a conventional way. So we pump the foot pedal, and then where's my spanner gone? Get the spanner, pump it, push it down, unlock it, and you feel that pedal go all the way down, lock it off again on the bleed nipple and let that pedal back up, and you'll see the fluid go down each time I let it go back up. So just give it a few little pumps, lock it off and relock it again. More like kind of unlock it and relock it. Sorry, when I'm saying lock it and unlock it, I mean with this spanner on here. I try to make it as understandable as I can, but I know Grizz's way of explaining things aren't always the most understandable in logic, but I do my best. So what we're looking for is this line to be nice and clear of bubbles when the fluid's coming out, and we've got to keep this topped up, make sure it doesn't run dry and let more air in. So pump the foot pedal Get the spanner on, unlock it, relock it. Yeah, let it back up. Unlock, relock. It's actually quite clear. There's not much bubbles in there. Unlock, relock. Not much bubbles. Some tiny ones. The problem I found is if you do it using the vacuum, it just looks like you're getting air bubbles coming out the caliper. You see that? But it's actually just the vacuum pulling the air from around the edge of this tube, and the bleed nipple is not actually coming out the caliper. So that's why I don't bleed it at this stage using the vacuum. Right, so let's continue with that. Bit of an air bubble then. You can also, this actually, I think the footrests are adjusted too far forward. I'm going to adjust them back a bit because at the moment this line is too tight, definitely too tight. So the rear sets need to be adjusted back, but they're not in their final place at the moment, rest in place. I need to play around with them yet. But anyway, so what you can do is wiggle your brake line and kind of tap the caliper to get any air out of the system, and just pump it, unlock, push it, relock. We've got a few little bubbles here, nothing crazy. I'm going to top up the reservoir again. Give it a couple of pumps, unlock, relock. Yeah, it's pretty clear actually. Unlock, relock. I would probably bleed it like this and then probably bleed it again tomorrow just to be sure that any air is out of that system. It usually does the trick. And make sure when you're pushing the foot pedal you're going all the way down. This is making sure you're getting all the full travel of that master cylinder to push all the fluid out. And it's also stopping any air bubbles from going back up. So it's kind of like you need to pump it, and as soon as you feel it hit that bottom point you lock it off. Do not let that pedal back up and then lock it off, because any air that you're pushing out through the system you will allow to go back into the system. You know what I mean? So you've just got to be constantly making that air go out and come out through the bleed nipple. Lock off, lock on. Pump, pump, pump. Lock off, lock on. That didn't work very well. I'm spanner positioned. Okay. Right, fluid level's getting low. Top it up. Right. I'm going to come back to this tomorrow now, leave it overnight and just give it another check and make sure all the air's out of the system. But it's looking good, looking strong. Take this one off. No mess. So there you go, that is the brake caliper on with new piston and new seals. It now has 2 seals instead of the one that I found it with, and the new Hell braided brake line. I'm going to adjust these footrests back a bit further so there's a little bit more play in that brake line. That's too far apart at the moment. I'm making it too tight, but on from that, I need to set up these footrest properly as well at the moment, so all little things to do, but at least that is the rear brake sorted, much better now, working as it should, no longer grabbing onto the wheel. Not really a good idea to try and do that whilst you're holding the camera, Grizz. Anyway, I'm gonna call it a day here. Right, so that is a wrap. All I've got to do now is the front master cylinder rebuild kit. This is just a standard master cylinder rebuild kit. Tail tidy is going to make the bike look so much better. Tail tidy's got to go on, and the power commander, and that is it. Things I did enjoy today was the Silkaline brake cleaner. Did a really good job. Super powerful and doesn't smell super powerful like some of the other ones that I have been using. So yeah, good stuff. Recommended. I'm not just saying it, it really did a great job. So yeah, that's it. One more job down. We're getting there. Before we know it, we're gonna have her started. Gonna give you that sound off I know you're all waiting for. It's gonna be worth it, guys. Right, catch you on the next one. I'm gonna go like edit for like a gazillion hours. Hope you enjoy the video, everyone, and thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you. Bye.
That's what I'm talking about. Sorted. See you on the next one. Bye.